Dear peace friends and colleagues, thank you for inviting me to give you a short address on behalf of the IPPNW Germany section to your summit. IPPNW is calling for a paradigm shift in security policy. We need cooperation and common security instead of competition and confrontation, for disarmament and for the climate. Dear peace friends and dear colleagues, I'm addressing this speech to you from the perspective of the urgent necessity to start again with a long process of nuclear disarmament and nuclear arms control. The world is in a profound multiple crisis. The climate crisis and the increasing danger of nuclear war are the two greatest threats in the 21st century. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists has set the symbolic hand of the doomsday clock to 90 seconds to 12 because they estimate the danger of the destruction of all life on our planet to be greater than at any time since the Second World War. At the same time, the climate crisis is advancing, and the reason for this is the massive overexploitation of the ecological limits of our planet, the planetary boundaries, due to fossil fuel-based ways of life and production, including the military. IPPNW Germany sees the world in the greatest danger since World War II. The danger of nuclear war had already grown considerably before Russia's aggression on Ukraine, because all nuclear weapon states are rearming their nuclear arsenals. All nuclear weapon states dress up this armament with the term modernization. But the Russian threat to use nuclear weapons in the Ukrainian war has put the real danger of nuclear war here in Europe back on the agenda. The fact is, every nuclear deterrence policy contains the option of wanting to wage a nuclear war, and that means the destruction of life on our planet with unacceptable humanitarian consequences. New climate models describe the catastrophic consequences of even regionally limited nuclear conflicts. A nuclear winter would destroy global food chains and lead to the starvation of 2 billion people. However, these facts are hardly included in the discourse of nuclear weapons and the doctrines of nuclear deterrence. On the contrary, the risk of nuclear deterrence remains hidden. A possible use of Russian nuclear weapons could not be limited. Anyone who believes this is naive. Military scenarios for the use of nuclear weapons assume a high risk of escalation, and nuclear deterrence presupposes the will to use them. Otherwise, it is not credible. Even if security experts and the military classify a nuclear war as limited, it would first destroy the harvest in the northern hemisphere, in our hemisphere, and subsequently in the southern hemisphere, due to the sudden drop in the average global temperature of at least 2.25 degrees Celsius. And this would lead to 2 billion deaths from starvation. But even without nuclear war, the scenario of starvation and crop failure is real. The ongoing climate crisis is rapidly worsening living conditions on the planet. In many regions of the world, hunger and poverty and death are growing as a result of drought and heavy rains. The Ukraine war has put the urgency to solve these problems on the agenda. IPPNW proposed solution is compliance with the planetary impact limits in all policy fields. That means also in the security and defense policy. It must be initiated now. and in conflict terms this means giving priority to ecology. Giving priority to ecology. IPPNW Germany therefore proposes a paradigm shift in security policy for the future. The overriding guiding principles must be cooperation and common security instead of competition and confrontation, for disarmament, for the climate. And there are viable concrete steps that the German government can take. These are my 6 proposals. The German government must send a strong signal and serious demands for the nuclear arms control and nuclear disarmament. These demands should address the United States and Russia together, who own over 90% of nuclear weapons, of all nuclear weapons. And second proposal, within NATO structures, Germany should take the initiative that NATO takes steps to become a non-nuclear alliance. This means to reduce the role of nuclear weapons in the NATO doctrine. Third, Germany must take the voices of the survivors of over 2,000 nuclear tests seriously. Germany should hold out the prospect of financial aid. In August last year, Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock announced that the German government would help to deal with the humanitarian consequences and protect victims and clean up contaminated land. Now, this announcement must be followed by action. Fourth, at the upcoming preparatory conference for the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in July and August 2023, the German delegation should call on all 5 nuclear powers in the Security Council to jointly adopt a declaration in which all 5 nuclear powers commit to renounce the first use of nuclear weapons. Fifth, the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam puts the cooling system for the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant at risk because the Kakhovka reservoir serves as the Zaporizhzhia plant's ultimate heat sink. IPPNW Germany calls on the UN Secretary General Guterres help to provide that Russia and Ukraine together work for technical solutions that the cooling point of the nuclear power plant Zaporizhzhia stays intact. This could serve as a first step towards a demilitarized zone around Zaporizhzhia. And 6, and the last, the German government should also accompany the second conference of the states of the Treaty of Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons this year in observer status and take further steps towards German accession. Thank you very much and goodbye.